You and I both heard a lot of buzz around AI, from large companies integrating into their business workflow to the solo business owner using it for their everyday task. Well, today I have a special guest, Dan Sanchez. And if you don't know who Dan is, he is an AI marketer, consultant, a creator with a passion for diving into the latest technology innovations. I heard him speak at Social Media Marketing World, and he also works with Michael Stelzner at Social Media Examiner, and he's a contributor in their program AI Society. Well, Dan specializes in developing cutting edge marketing strategies that leverages artificial intelligence to enhance customer engagement and drive business growth. I know you'll get a lot out of this episode as Dan begins to share a lot of his AI insights and tips. So stay tuned. Hello, Dan. Welcome to Amplify Your Authority podcast. So glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me on.
Yes, I thought it'd be interesting to share how we met because that was recent. We met in San Diego at a huge conference, right? Social Media Marketing World. And you were one of the speakers there. And it was great kind of connecting with you before the conference started. We started chatting, and I could probably talk to you for a long time and geek out on AI, but we both live in Tennessee. We found that out. Did you happen to fly back from San Diego for all those tornado warnings, or did you come in later after that?
I came in right before all that happened. So I came back right away after the conference because I got family. I have 4 kids here in Tennessee. My wife likes me to be back as fast as I'm able to be back because it's crazy here.
Absolutely. So what's the age range of the kids?
Oldest is 12. My youngest is 2. So
oh my gosh,
I got a range.
How adorable. Oh my goodness. So have you lived in Tennessee for a long time?
No, 3 years. I moved here from Minnesota. But before Minnesota, I've lived all over the Midwest, and I actually grew up in LA.
Okay, I grew up in LA too. I think we discussed that too. Yeah. LA was my old stomping ground when I was a kid. So awesome. Well, you know a lot about AI. And so we're going to give everyone kind of a little bit of a taste of your journey with AI so that they can see the possibilities, because some people are just not on board yet, or maybe they're dipping their toe a little bit. And I think the conversation will help maybe ease any concerns that may have, and maybe even see the potential of using AI. And we can stay specifically with ChatGPT. That's my favorite. But if you want to talk about some of the others, that's fine too. But what was something when you were exploring AI, what was an aha moment, or the moment you realized this is something that will really help in business?
There's so many different points that got me into AI. It took some hard things that were going on in my life at the time. It took some ahas. It took me seeing AI. I was working at a tech company beforehand and seeing all the things they were doing with this. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. But one of the things that I think is more interesting is I was working at a podcast agency called Sweetfish. And we were crushing it. We were the #1 B2B podcast agency in the world, had over 100 shows we were managing. And we were like, how can we grow next? And I started doing the marketing thing where I'm like, okay, if we're planning out 5-10 years, who would beat us and how would they beat us? How can we start thinking about that ahead of time? I started thinking about what can we do to prepare in order to disrupt ourselves so that somebody else can't do it. And after looking at all the different service models and all the different competitors, I realized that tech, SaaS, software as a service, was going to be the one to disrupt us. It wasn't going to be a podcast service agency. It wasn't going to be people. It was going to be technology. And I started looking into that. I started diving into it, trying to figure out what that would be. And we even started developing some tools in-house. And the long end of it, Sweetfish ended up going up market to do what AI couldn't do. I left and started going down market to figure out what I could start leveraging, what kind of technology I could leverage in order to make the process better and faster. And that was just kind of the beginning of my AI journey. Once ChatGPT was out and running around and we were able to I was able to start experimenting with it. That became more and more of this is going to be the solution. This is how we can actually make content production easier, faster. So all you have to do is talk into the microphone, hit publish, and all of a sudden your voice and your ideas and your opinions can be everywhere.
Yeah. Was that a hard transition, leaving and pretty much going on your own?
Yeah, it had some bumpy roads. I
Yeah.
actually went first in. I wanted to go from agency. I went in house, worked for a tech company. That went for a short time, and then I went solo after that. And that period was really difficult. I think rolling up your sleeves to become a solo consultant was really hard because that was before AI was taking off.
Mm-hmm.
And before it was actually even truly like as useful as it is today. Like the first
Right.
year of ChatGPT was really exciting, but anybody using AI today is like, oh, it's so much better than what we had at the beginning, right? You look back to like 4.0 back when it first came out, you're like, man, it was bad.
It
Now it's
was.
so smooth. Even the not even 4.0, like just 4, um, was so bad compared to what we have today. And there
Yeah.
wasn't as much hype as there was. There wasn't really a market for it. So I was peddling all kinds of other things, of podcast work or marketing automation work and all kinds of marketing consultant odds and ends. And I couldn't quite figure out what to even label myself as. And I had this like
Yeah.
moment in December of 2023, where I was like, okay, like, what am I going to be known as? What do I want to be known for? And that's when I decided like AI is the thing. There's no market here right now, but there will be. I'm confident that there will be. I'm
Yes.
like, I've had this feeling a few times before. I've like doubled down on WordPress before that became a thing. And I doubled down on marketing automation before that became a really big thing. And I've had a few other instances like that where I'm like, this is going to be it. I have to get into this now.
Yeah.
So I started a podcast called the AI Driven Marketer. And I went hard and I was doing an episode or two a week and I went all year, hardly had any traction for 10 months. It wasn't until later on that I actually started building an audience and it actually started growing to something slightly more substantial. This show's still pretty small compared to like major shows today.
But you've done really well with that. And you're
Yeah.
speaking the heart of a solopreneur. So I'm glad you're sharing that because I think that would be an encouragement to my audience because a lot of times they don't know what they want to be known for. And they think that they're the ones that struggle and everybody else doesn't. And it is a journey. And so I
We all
think
struggle.
that's really, yeah, it's a real
It's
encouragement to
really
people.
hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
I
is.
swear, like you and everybody else I know, like we all start dozens of different things. We try different things and we pivot and we try something and we launch this offer, it didn't work, and we try this thing. We were all in on this new topic and we start a whole blog or a podcast or a YouTube channel on it, and then it phases out. It just doesn't go anywhere. This was the first major time where I'd gone independently apart from my employer and doubled down on something, and it finally clicked. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it
And
also had to do like 60 episodes before it finally clicked. So like I had to go a long ways into it before
yeah.
audience started showing up and staying.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You need to commit and just continue doing what you're doing. And you're not going to see necessarily the results right away, but you've got to just trust that it will come as you continue to create content, whether it's a podcast or whatever it is that you decide you want to do for long form content. But now you are very much involved with a social media examiner. You want to tell everybody about that?
Yeah, so that was fun. I'd been on a guest on other podcasts like this one before, but I was a guest on man, it's always the thing I love about podcasts is like the best way to get to know people.
Yeah.
And you don't know who you're going to get to meet in these shows like our meeting now. But now when we see each other on LinkedIn or whatever platform or even in person, like it'll be different because we've had this talk now.
Yeah.
That's what I love about podcasting. So I was on a different podcast. I was a guest on Mike Altman's show. He had just started an AI show. And Michael Stelzner was listening to that one, looking for people to recruit for his own show. My episode
Oh,
came along his ears, and he had his assistant reach out to me in September. We booked a show for his show, AI Explored, and that came out in October. When he found out I was independent, he's like, and he's in Nashville too. So since he was local, he's like, hey man, we should have lunch. And you know how a lunch conversation turned to chatting, and then he extended a full-time offer for me to come join him.
that's
At the
wonderful.
time, my show was almost nothing. So like it was starting to build at that point, but I knew by joining forces with him, it would just be better for both of us, because he wanted someone that could be like an in-house subject matter expert on AI, and I was excited about joining him, getting in front of the Social Media Examiner platform, and being able to speak at the conference. The conference was actually like not even supposed to happen, but that was kind of a happy accident right at the end.
Yeah. That's wonderful. And you do a great job. And, to connect. And I think the moral of the story is you never know who's listening, right?
No.
So that was almost a serendipitous moment, but it worked out so well. And you're so well suited for that. You're so well suited. And you seem to have a really good dynamic with Michael Stelzner as well. So that's always nice because I attended the Q&A that you both did together at the conference, and that was great. Hearing the dialogue, the different perspectives. So it was really, really good. Awesome. So you talked a little bit about the challenges. Now, what are some things today that you're pleasantly surprised and really enjoying about AI? What's coming to mind? Because there's so many angles, so many directions we can go. But what's something that's really exciting you right now?
Gosh, it has just gotten so good recently.
I know.
It's so good. It makes me look back to even a year ago or even 6 months ago. I'm like, man, AI sucked 6 months ago, and now it's so good. The O3 model for reasoning has just become like such a go-to for me. Even this weekend, it blew me away. I had a moment where I was sitting on my front porch and looking at my lawn because it's springtime and all the weeds are taking over my lawn. I even have Bermuda, which is a weed in it itself. No, it's still getting dominated by all the weeds here in Tennessee. And I was looking at it, I'm like, man, I've been meaning to do something about this. I could hire somebody. I don't even know who to call. I need help. I took a picture of my lawn just sitting there on my porch with my phone, sent it to O3. O3 has this ability to see photos really well now. It can really analyze photos, find details. I'm like, ChatGPT, I don't know how to fix my lawn. It's being taken over. All I do is mow it, but I know I need to do more stuff. I need to put chemicals, something. I don't know. But here's my lawn. Help me identify what's wrong with it, what kind of weeds I got going on, and help me build a plan to fix it. It sees it, identifies all the weeds.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is fixable. Like
Yeah.
Bermuda's a bully if you give it the proper, just a little bit of attention. It builds a plan for me. I'm like, great, where can I buy the stuff you're recommending? I have a Home Depot I can drive to. So it goes and searches Home Depot's website, finds me all the stuff, links to it all. I go to Home Depot. One of the things are not there. It's like, oh, okay, this other thing's suitable. Get that, and I got that. I get home. I have one of those little like things you push, that sprinkles out whatever the chemicals are. I don't know, the little pellets. I bought it used. I don't even know if it works. I don't even know it's the right thing. I take a picture. It's a bad photo. It still recognizes it, understands what make it is, what model it is. And it's like, hey, you need to check these two things on it. If those work, then you're good to go. So I check it. It works. I'm like, it gives me the sequence of what I need to do, when I need to do it, how I need to do it, and just kind of walks me through the whole process.
Yeah.
This is kind of technical.
I know.
It even did a search for my address, found my land plot from the county, subtracted the house, like where the house sits, and estimated like how much square footage of lawn I had and tell me how many bags of everything I needed to buy. This is the day and age we live in when it comes to AI. And this is going to be the norm of how we operate with AI.
I love it.
There's a few factors in that are important for marketers or anybody in business right now. One, it made product recommendations to me. Didn't care. I just bought what it recommended because it sounded right. It felt right. And gosh dang it, like I'm pretty confident like I bought the right stuff, but it could be wrong. I don't know. Didn't matter. It sounded right. I went and bought it. Didn't question it. I bought whatever it told me to buy. That's going to have a big impact on buyers in the future.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing is, this is going to be a big impact in how we operate as professionals or even as people. We're all going to have this world-class executive assistant being able to handle all the problems we throw at it. Right now, I had to prompt it to get that conversation started. In the future, it will be prompting us. It'll be, we'll have our morning briefing, and it'll be almost like, think of like you watch like a movie with this like high level executive who's walking into a car, maybe his executive assistants, and they're briefing that person on the days, what's going to happen that day, decisions that need to be made, and questions for them, right? That's going to be AI for all of us. Yeah. It's starting to feel like that already with O3. And we're starting to get onto this point where it's starting to feel more, agentic, or this thing that actually has the capacity to do a lot for you.
Absolutely. So I love that you're using it in your personal life, because I do as well. And I do a similar thing. If I didn't go to the store and I only have a few things in the freezer or in the pantry, I'll just ask ChatGPT, this is what I have. It already knows, like, it's for dinner for two, and it knows what things we like and what we don't. And it will take what I have on hand, and it will create a whole menu, and I'll say the same thing. I don't have that ingredient. Okay, no problem. Let me substitute it with this. Do you have this? And I go, yes. So it's the same type of thing. And I recently just wrote a song for my son-in-law who turned 50, and real milestone, right? None of us can believe he turned 50, but in any event, I wrote a song, and it was kind of like a little bit of humor in it, but heartfelt at the same thing. And everyone was like amazed, and it took like nothing to create it. So we're using it now in our personal life, but in business life, how is it helping people as far as their ROI? Have you heard from different businesses or solopreneurs how it's really helping them get clients or increase revenue, those type of things?
There's a ton of different ways it can help. The easiest way to start is just by speeding things up and cost savings, essentially.
Yeah.
I remember I did a custom GPT project a year ago for a business consultant who did strategic planning for companies. He's specifically hired to do scenario planning, like intense scenario planning, so that companies could plan for like, okay, if X happens in the economy and this major trend takes off, what's the intersection of those two things? But it's something that would take him roughly a week or two to do. You're talking like 40 to 60 man hours worth of intense work from a highly specialized consultant or himself. Not easy work to be able to build out those scenarios. Together, we built a custom GPT that takes that 40 to 60 man hours and makes it easy enough to do in 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, that's the name of the game,
it's
right?
so fast. He just does it live with clients as a service. And they can explore different paths together, because the custom GPT will plan for the two intersections, and using his data and using his method will paint a picture and tell a story. And that's the best part about this generative AI thing, is it can make up stuff and tell stories, especially if you give it direction to run in. And it was very good at scenario planning. So that's like a great example, because we all have things like that in our businesses.
Yeah.
One of my favorite custom GPTs actually is a showrunner for a podcast. Because every time you have a new guest on, you got to do some research on them. You got to think about what angle you're going to take with them. You got to think about the title. You got to think about the questions. But my showrunner, which is myshowrunner.com, like you can literally just go and grab this custom GPT or the instructions and customize it for yourself. It does all that for you. Instead of it taking 30, 45 minutes, it gets it done in 5. You could literally sit down 10 minutes before you're about to record an interview and be fully prepared in order to ask customized questions that are best for your show and that particular person.
Yeah.
So those speeds, that speed of being able to execute results, sometimes even better than you would have been able to do before, like that kind of consultant I was talking about. He's got a totally different process. He's not just taking it and then delivering them a PDF with all the stuff and presenting it. He's doing it live with clients right there, planning for the scenarios, helping them think about the possibilities of the future, so that then they can work together on coming up with plans to be prepared for them. It's not only faster, it's actually better. And that's how people are actually using it, not just to speed up the time to results for their clients, but actually improving the whole process in and of itself. Yeah. Of course, there's some things you can be doing in marketing too. Like, I think everybody needs to be leveraging conversation marketing with AI. It's like one of the easiest ones. Still, a lot of people don't do it. Everybody should have a chat bot that's trained on your business with your most frequently asked questions that books appointments for you. Why doesn't everybody have one of those now? Like, everybody needs this. It's low-hanging fruit, because everybody has questions. Not everybody wants to take the time to navigate the website, and chat bots have gotten so good now. You could do the same thing with inbound phone calls. I used to work for a college where we recruit students. And the most painful thing I had to deal with is we were too successful in generating leads. I couldn't call them all. I wish we would have had then what we have today with a phone call center. Like, I didn't even have enough man hours to book inbound. I'd miss inbound phone calls. You're like, those are warm leads calling in. Couldn't take them. Because the people calling outbound were too busy, and I didn't have enough of them calling outbound. Oh, nightmare. We don't have those problems anymore.
Yeah. I think it's just, if you can imagine it, you can probably figure out a way how AI can help. Because everything that you said, from just analyzing images, even you'd appreciate this. My husband, he's in sales, and he has a compensation plan. And there's different ways how you can hit bonus and so forth.
Yep.
And so I put that into ChatGPT, and I had it analyze the compensation plan and give a strategy as how my husband could leverage the compensation plan so he can make the most money in the year. And my husband had already done this and calculated everything. It was within $1 difference.
Yeah.
It's like blew him away. That's when he became a believer and decided, wow, this is something that I should take a look at. He's in Perplexity, and of course I love Perplexity, but he's using that a lot now. But that's huge for him because he didn't think it could really accomplish anything. And I don't think people realize the potential and what's ahead, what's coming ahead, and how helpful it could be, specifically for solo business owners who wear so many hats. So important.
AI is incredibly good today. But I
Yeah.
used to say this, and I still say this, like, if all AI innovation stopped and what we have today is the best that it gets, we will unlock at least 8 to 10 years of innovation off the back of what we currently have.
Yeah.
Because, like, think about how much innovation we had off the back of iPhones, like specifically 3GS, when they started putting GPS units in iPhones. We unlocked a lot of different new business models. We had a lot of innovation off the back of iPhone or mobile first tech and all kinds of companies. Uber couldn't exist without smartphones, right? There's a lot of companies like that that like blew up and became known and became useful off the back of mobile phones.
Mm-hmm.
Just a few different pieces of technology come under one roof. And then it stopped. It just got incrementally better, but no real new things have come out with smartphones in a long time, right?
Yeah.
AI will have just as much innovation over the next 10 years. And that's if it doesn't stop getting better.
Yeah.
But it will. It's
I
gonna
love
start
that you've
getting
touched
better.
on some use cases. Now, you also have written a children's book, right?
Mhm.
You want to tell us a little bit about that? I just want people to understand the use case, the potential of
Yeah.
what we can do with AI.
There's so many use cases. In fact, and that's just one tiny little fraction of a use case. I'd created, worked with a children's book illustrator to publish a children's book. I've done two. One called I Want to Be a Marketer When I Grow Up, and one called How to Grow an Audience. It's for kids because, of course, a lot of kids want to be YouTubers and grow an audience, but a lot of kids, I think selfishly, I just wanted kids to know more about marketing because nobody goes. There's a lot of people that get into marketing, but nobody like thought about them doing that in high school. So,
Yeah.
right, it's one of those careers people fall in love with later, or find out that it's just a really good thing. But I found out with ChatGPT's new image maker, now that it can handle lots of text, I'm like, oh, I wonder if I can recreate a whole kid's book with just ChatGPT's image maker and ChatGPT itself. And it can. It came up with the whole storyline. I said, like, hey, I want to come up with a creative story about it being, I'll be the main character, but I want it to be about AI not being the hero, but being the superpower of the character. So the book was called Captain Creative and the AI Sidekick.
Yeah.
And
That's
it was
great.
a fun book. Of course, I brought my son and my daughter into it as Selah and Noah. But it started laying out the pages, and there was not some inconsistencies across the characters, but it was more consistent than I'd ever seen AI do before. And it's
Yeah.
still fun to read and actually go through. And that's just one tiny little use case. We will spend the next 6 to 8 months like looking for more use cases for that one tool, ChatGPT's new image generator, because it's so versatile.
Yeah. By the inconsistencies, you mean the character may be looking different with each
Yeah.
illustration. It's getting
Like
better.
Yeah, like the girl from one page to the next, her hairstyle changed, right? From just being down to ponytail to frazzled. The boy's hair kind of changed a little bit. Like the shirt changes from thing to thing. So like little things change. Most of the time, most people wouldn't even know if you were going fast, but people with attention to detail would notice those kinds of things.
Yeah. A
So
while ago, I think it was like a year and a half ago, I was trying to do something like that. And it was a little story about a farm and these two adults, and there was a little girl, and there were goats. And in one of the images, the little girl ended up with a goat head. It was so bad.
yeah, it used to be really bad. Now it's pretty good, but not perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was strange. And then some images with multiple, like 6, 7 fingers on one hand and things like that. But it's so much better, like you said, so much better now than it was before. So if anybody got discouraged before, they should check out AI, at least ChatGPT, because it's so much better than it was before. So looking ahead a little bit, there's some buzz about AI agents. Now, I know you did a YouTube, I think it was a podcast that you have on YouTube, 5 stages of AI agents and how marketers can prepare now. I'm going to put a link to that so people can watch that or listen to it. But can you give just an explanation of what this is and why we should pay attention? What are AI agents?
AR agents is essentially AI that has reasoning ability. It's very smart and it has access to tools and the ability to use them on your behalf. Right? It has autonomy. It can do things by itself. So you can schedule it to go and do something, and then every Monday at 5:30 a.m. it goes and does all the things. And it might not always do them in the same order either. It does it in the order that makes sense, just like an employee would. You're like, employee, you're responsible for doing X. Every Monday, we need to have A, B, and C done. AI agents will do that. What a lot of people are calling AI agents now, though, are not AI agents. They are just automation with a little bit of AI sprinkled in it. And there's a massive difference. Why I did that whole episode, because people don't realize people are slapping the word agent on everything, and not everything's actually an agent. In fact, there's very few true agents out there right now. Most of them are automation or automation with AI or something that's starting to seem like an agent. The closest thing that I've seen to agents are more like previews of what they will be, but they're not currently good yet. Like ChatGPT has a program called Operator. That's starting to feel very agentic because you can send it to go and book a reservation for you at a restaurant. And if you think about it, that's a fairly complex task because it has to make a lot of decisions in order to book a restaurant for you, right? It has to know like when, where, like find out if there's availability, be able to report back to you on it. Right now, it can go and do it, but it's going to have to ask you 101 questions along the way, and it takes so long for it to do it that it doesn't save you any time. It's actually kind of a hindrance. It's kind of annoying. But pretty soon, it'll be fast. It'll remember your preferences, and it'll just do it. That's an agent. So if you want to see an example of agent, just look up demos of like Operator, or Manus is like the Chinese version of that. Also not good enough, in my opinion, to do anything well. So, but the tech is there and it will get better, and eventually they'll have enough compute server space for everybody to have access to it. So I'm thinking by the end of the year, we'll actually be able to see this in action and it'll start working well. Now, when we're talking about like using agents to like book you a dinner reservation, you're like, okay, that's not helpful for my business. Think about the implications. I used to run an internship at that college I mentioned where I had 24 students working under me. And they did a variety of different things. I always had to onboard them as freshmen, train them in something over a couple of weeks. And I would get them into something very narrow, something fairly repetitive. They'd have to do the same thing every day or like every week. And I'd train them in that one little skill. I almost had like a manufacturing plant mentality. Like, hey, you do this part, you do this part, you do this part, and then we'll complete the task of writing an SEO rich blog post, right? That experience has probably given me the clearest understanding of what agents are going to be. Because I got really good at finding things for those students to do and making them very productive. I'm now looking at these agents and looking at their capabilities, and I'm like, my gosh, it's like having a bunch of interns, except it's smarter and can operate 24/7, 365. And if I could just give it the operating procedure on what to do, how to do it, and when to do it, and a decision tree of maybe like, hey, if you run into this, do that. If you run into this, do it this way. It'll be able to do it. Yeah. For a fraction of the cost of having an employee do it, and probably more reliably, especially if you can really define what needs to happen. That's going to be a game changer for businesses. And now it has access to a web browser like I do. That means it can log into my CRM and do the things that I couldn't do through the API. It can go ahead and copy and paste over my blog post that got published, and maybe I use some traditional marketing automation for that to get it there. But now that next part, it always takes a minute to actually like copy and paste it over because that one tool I have has no good API on it. But that's okay. My agent can actually go and do that for me. Every Tuesday, every time it sees this happen, it'll go and do that, double check it, make sure it checks with me first, and then it sends it, right? There's all these different tasks and things that agents will be able to fill in the gaps for that I think is really exciting. There's going to be a lot of solopreneurs out there crushing with a team of 30 agents.
Now, I know what most people are probably thinking, that technology learning curve, because I think some people that maybe aren't even using ChatGPT, it's just so easy to use. It's very conversational. You can even just start saying, I don't know where to start. You could start there and have it just begin to dialogue with you. For those people that feel a little nervous about technology, coding, all this other stuff, what would you say? Is it something that most people would be able to use once it's here, once we can, use AI agents? I think yes, but I'd love to hear your input.
I think that's the wrong way to look at it. But let me tell you why.
Okay.
Right now, some things are harder than others. It's pretty dang easy compared to learning how to code or build a website or even setting up and dealing with WordPress. If you've installed a WordPress site, you know it's a freaking pain, right? There are some things using ChatGPT is pretty easy, and then there's other things that are kind of hard. That is to your advantage right now. If you're like, oh, but it's too hard, I'm like, yeah. And when it's really easy to the point where my 5-year-old could do it, then guess what? Everybody can do it.
Everybody. Yeah.
So the fact that some things are hard are actually to your advantage if you're motivated to learn how to do it now. Like if you want it to be so easy that all you have to do is be like, hey, ChatGPT, make me a marketing campaign and make it successful. That's a problem. Yes, it's easy, but now like it doesn't matter anymore. Like, because everybody can do it. So like you kind of have to weigh these things. Like, yes, we want it to be ultimate easy, but at the same time, we want it to be hard enough that we can actually still have a competitive advantage somewhere. So where's your competitive advantage going to be when marketing's so easy that you just have to literally wake up, push a button and call it done?
Yeah.
Well,
that's a great point.
There's going to be, you have to move the hard somewhere. So figure out where your hard's going to be. I actually think that it's not that hard to learn the technical part of it. Right now, building automations, especially building agents, or like what we can do with agents and something like make.com or NAN, which are some automation platforms, fairly hard. Like I'm pretty technical and it took me some time. But at the same time, I'm glad it took me some time because that means like not everybody can replicate some of the sequences and the marketing things that I put together.
That's true.
It won't be like that forever. Pretty soon, I'll just be able to tell my agent, hey, go make a sequence so that every time X happens, this is the steps. I don't want you to do it every time. I want you to build a marketing automation sequence for it because that's more consistent than an agent would be.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't want to use AI if a computer can do, because computers are actually more consistent than AI can be. Even AI uses computers now. If you notice, ChatGPT, when you ask it to do math, pulls out essentially a calculator and starts using it to figure it out because it can't add and subtract. So they've trained it to be like, hey, when you're doing math, like pull out this code program and start calculating it in there and then figure it out, which is really interesting.
Yeah. So I love that. I think you kind of nailed some misconceptions in the way we view AI and the complexity, which really, if you just spend some time with it, and I guess if you're interested to really leverage AI and you spend some time, because in the beginning, we all spent some time, even with ChatGPT, trying to figure out how to write better prompts and so forth. But the outcome got better and better and better, especially when we gave it knowledge, when we started creating custom GPTs. You know, we realized the potential of, in the beginning, it was a little clunky. It's like anything, you know, you teach a teenager how to drive, it's pretty clunky, right? But after a while, they master that skill. And I feel like people can develop this skill and be able to build on it. And it doesn't become as scary as it may feel right now.
It's one of the few tools that will tell you how to use it not all the time. I will say that AI is really bad at understanding its own capabilities, but if you ask for ideas on how to use it in your specific context, it's usually pretty good at it. But then like YouTube, just go to YouTube and be like, how to get started with ChatGPT, watch the video, try some of the stuff, watch 5 videos.
Yeah.
Like you can watch 5, 6 videos in the time it would take you to watch one episode of that thing you're binging right now. And get ahead on AI more than most people, because most people don't even take that amount of time to learn a new thing.
Yeah. And I found Perplexity is pretty helpful when you're trying to maybe compare some online tools, or how does something work, or where do you unsubscribe for this? I can't find it in the darn thing. It can tell you exactly where to go. Go here, 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 done. And so Perplexity has been a real help for me in using Perplexity, and ChatGPT is probably 2 of my favorites. But I use other AI tools just because I love seeing what the potential is, but also just figuring out how I can help my audience. Maybe if somebody's not a ChatGPT person, but maybe they like Claude, the principles are the same as far as how you're going to use them, right? You just have to modify it to that particular tool. So
that's right. I usually tell people just to pick one of those big ones and just double down on that one tool. Forget all the rest. Forget the hype. Forget every other tool. Like, and it's one of the things I asked a lot of people at the conference when they asked me. I got a variety of questions from people But the most common one, said in a lot of different ways, was, where am I at and what should I be learning next? And one of my first questions to assess where they're at is if they were paying for a ChatGPT or some tool that's like it. If they weren't paying for it, then they're probably a beginner and they haven't found enough use cases to make it worth paying the $22 a month, a no-brainer. If you are paying for it, are you using a custom GPT? Because that's the next level. Have you built a dozen custom GPTs? Once you've built a dozen, you've probably run through all the different ways you can build them. From there, you move on to marketing automation and using AI in automation. But that was usually how I would assess people.
No, I totally agree. And I think with the use of ChatGPT, you begin to see that you're ready for a custom GPT by just using it. And you realize, okay, it's time to create a custom GPT. And it doesn't feel as difficult because you've been using it already. You got a feel for it. And then you can customize it to remove emojis and em dashes or whatever you want, whatever style you want. And it becomes better at the output. So, because there's a certain style that I like, and it can write just the way you want. And if you give it all that information, all the knowledge, it becomes even better. I just love it. So when you're looking at all these AI tools, and I agree, I think people should focus on one because it's learning. And the more you spend time with that one, it's going to learn more and it's going to produce better output. If you're here, there, and everywhere, you're not really deep diving on one. So I totally agree with that. But as you're looking at different AI tools, how do you, because I know you've done a lot of different things, because I follow you, I listen to your podcast and so forth. How do you check out all these AI tools and not become overwhelmed? Is it because you love it, or is it because you just want to stay on the cutting edge, just kind of interested?
I think I've developed a good filter because a lot of people get overwhelmed by the news. I'm actually watching a few different sources. And I'm looking for things that seem applicable to me now. Like, what are the things I'm going through right now? And then is it applicable there? I'm also paying attention for like news of tools that I'm already using. Like, I'm already big into ChatGPT, so news about Claude matters less to me than ChatGPT news because I'm in ChatGPT. So if it releases something new, I'm probably going to test it out. Otherwise, most tools are just previews of what's to come, so they're not even useful yet. Most people digging into tools right away do a pretty good job of breaking them down. And I don't ever consider myself the first wave in. There's a certain type of creator that's like the first evaluators. As soon as the tool comes out, they want to be the one breaking the news on how it is. I'm never that person. I'm always second wave. I let those people vet it. I watch a few tutorials on how they're doing it and just kind of stay informed. And then I evaluate whether it's actually going to be helpful for marketers. I let them be the crash dummies. And sometimes they are. And if they're those people, they're going so fast that they can't go deep on any of these things because something's going to come out next week and they have to go figure that out. I'll be the one to slow down. If they're doing 10 tools, I will pick one of their 10 tools and go a little bit deeper on it. And then even of those, only a handful of those that I even check out are worth like spending a significant amount of time or money on. So there's actually not a lot of tools that I'm like thinking about all the time. Though one just crossed the line for me recently that I'm like, oh, this tool is now useful and I might start using it regularly because it's pretty good now.
I think that's good advice because we can, if we let ourselves get overwhelmed. And I'm the same way. Same thing with social media. I focus on one platform, LinkedIn, because it's just too much.
It's too much.
And you don't really, well, that's another story, but you have to figure out where you can show up and be there to build relationships and really focus. I can't do it on multiple social media platforms. I can only do it on one and try to do it well in one place. And it's the same thing with AI tools. So what excites you right now about the future with AI? What are you looking forward for? And what are you chomping at the bit to see happen with AI?
I'm looking for AI tools to interact with my CRM more. This is the one thing that I'm really excited about. That I haven't seen a lot of CRMs really do well. I haven't stayed up to date as much with HubSpot, but as far as I know, the AI tools I've seen from them, they're okay. I feel like that platform's not been my favorite for a while now. The one I'm most excited about because of the price of it, because it's fairly feature rich and they're doing a really good job of baking AI into it, is High Level. But there's even still things that I want to see more of in there. But more specifically in the automation builder. like this is where I think a lot of gains can be had is like if a contact is passing through your CRM and you have these marketing automations, you have the drip sequences, how can you be using AI to customize it so you can generate more leads out of all these contacts you have running through your CRM? Man, that's exciting. When I can
Mm-hmm.
actually communicate with an agent about what's going on with different contacts at different times and following up with them and creating custom plans for each one, I'm like, this is around the corner. This is going to be coming within a couple of years. But we're going to be taking little baby steps on the way there. So I'm really excited about that frontier, about seeing the brilliance that is ChatGPT come into where the data for my business is actually happening.
Agreed. It's exciting time. We're seeing innovation and things are just changing. I mean, it doesn't take 3 months anymore. It's like things are happening at such a rapid pace. And something when it first came out and I thought, oh, this isn't going to go anywhere. It's terrible is now. So I'm eating my words because when it first came out, it was a little bit clunky, but it is so much better now. So if you've never tried ChatGPT, I would encourage our listeners to just try it. And you can try the free version, but I think the paid, like Dan said, is a no-brainer. The paid version, because it's only $20 a month right now anyway, at the time of this recording, you'll more than make your money up for the $20 investment. So Dan, when you're not working and looking at AI tools, what do you do on your own time? I know you have a family.
I feel like marketing's my hobby and my work, but
I know.
It really does. My wife will be like, yeah, it's a little much, but I love it. I don't know what to do. But after that, like I love running. So I'm an avid runner. I love
I
getting
didn't know
outside,
that.
putting those running shoes on, spending some time, but I'm also listening to marketing podcasts while I'm running. So am I working or am I running? I also
You sound
homeschool
like
my
me.
kids. My
Oh, I
kids
didn't
are
know that.
home. I
Okay.
homeschool and I am very involved in their lives and we do a lot of soccer right now. We're in soccer season. Three out of the four of them play soccer. So I've become one of those parents that go to your kid's soccer game and I can't even sit down. I'm pacing, I'm yelling, I'm jumping up into the air. I never thought that would be me, but that's
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And the time goes by so quickly that you have to enjoy that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, family and AI, it's the same thing. I love learning about it. I think that's why I don't mind going deep because I've always loved technology. I mean, when things were moving into computers, I was on it. I had a portable laptop, what you would call a laptop, that weighed like 30 pounds back in the day. And it had a screen about yay big. And I thought it was the greatest thing ever invented that I could take this thing from work and home and back and forth. I thought it was so great. And I've just watched technology just evolve and I just love it. And so I think that's what keeps me excited is to see the innovation and the things that are coming and the things that can really help solo business owners. Now you have something to share with our audience today, something, a free resource. You want to tell us a little bit about that? Like what did, caused you to create it and tell us a little bit about what it's about?
Yeah, it's just a free course, classic email drip sequence. And it's one of my favorite things to tell people about. One, because it's free, but two, because most people need to go through the same steps in order to really get a good handle on AI. And in fact, I called it the AI fundamentals course, but a lot of people who like consider themselves intermediate said like, hey man, this ain't a fundamentals course. Like I learned a lot more in this than I thought I would. And what it does is kind of breaks you down how to think about ChatGPT specifically. I had to pick one tool, so I doubled down on
Yeah.
ChatGPT, how to think about it systematically. Episode 1 talks about super prompts, and then it goes into chain prompting, not chain of thought prompting, but actually chain prompting, thinking about things sequentially, and then
Mm-hmm.
taking that same mentality and starting to build your first custom GPT, a simple one, and then to a more elaborate custom GPT. And these are the building blocks that I think we all kind of have to go with in order to really level up on how to use AI, not just for ones and twosy things, but how to use it to build whole systems. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
can get a system and you can get AI to perform consistently in that system, you're starting to set the groundwork for building agents, for building AI
Yes.
employees, and scaling your company in a way that was never possible just a few years ago. But you actually have to take the time to walk through these steps. And that's what I wanted to do was make a course. It's just 5 days, 5 videos. And I even use AI, capture a little bit of information about you on the form. And then you'll see that every lesson underneath the video is customized just for you, your role, your audience, and what you're selling to them. So watch the videos, you follow along with the custom action plan that comes with every single lesson, and hopefully it can help you level up in your AI game.
So it has a little bit like a quiz element to it where you answer and then the response is customized to the user, right?
Yes, that's right. I mean, it's not a quiz. It's more of like a survey where I ask you just for your title, your product, and who you sell to. And it's actually pretty simple, but I include it in the course itself. I'm like, hey, do you want to figure out how I built this? And I will actually show you step by step how I built the course using AI. It's not super elaborate because essentially I just take the transcript of every single lesson, send it off to ChatGPT through high level with the few like, hey, customize this lesson, create a custom action plan for this lesson using these 3 things that we know about this user. Insert name, job description, product, audience, and then it just comes back and delivers it. Bam. And I had to test it a lot in order to really hone in that prompt. But once it was then, I built it almost a year ago, and it's been working for me ever since.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'll make sure the link is in the show notes as well so that people can try it out, test it out, and begin to get more involved with ChatGPT. So I'm excited about that, and I'm excited that you shared so much today. Thank you so much for being on the show and especially the fact that you shared some of the challenges, because I think it's important for people to know that it's not just them. And you too shall overcome this. If you just stick to it, that AI can really be a real support and a help with, especially for solo business owners, with the content creation, with so many things than just producing blog posts or social posts. I love what you said about systems. If we start thinking about systems and thinking beyond just creating content for today, thinking about systems and preparing for those AI agents. So thank you so much, Dan, for sharing all your knowledge and wisdom and insights. Thank you. All righty. So until next time, everyone, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.